Buenos dias and welcome back to another video, my friends. I hope you're staying healthy and I hope you're staying safe wherever you are in the world. Today on the channel, I want to talk about Freewell's Variable ND 2 to 5 stop mist filter. I do want you to know that the Freewell company did reach out to me and ask if I wanted to review this filter, and I agreed, but no other terms are in place. I am giving my honest opinion about this filter. In fact, I'm an existing customer. I have not only bought one ND filter from them, but two ND filters from them that I purchased with my own money. The reason I have two of the same box is because one was lost in the bag that was stolen in Los Angeles a few months back. You can watch a video of that I'll link up later in this video. So anyways, I'm an existing customer, I'm a happy customer, and I want to tell you more about this variable ND mist filter. A typical variable ND will knock down light one stop at a time. So this specific variable ND filter stops down light from 2 stops all the way to 5 stops. So that's 4 stops of total light that you can knock down and basically have artificial shade or darkness imposed onto the scene so you can adjust your settings and get the exposure that you want. Check out some of the footage I shot of this water fountain, stopping it down from 2 stops all the way to 5 stops. So that was the variable neutral density part of this filter. It also comes with a 1/8 layer of mist that is incorporated and baked in to the glass on this filter. You can also find this filter with a 1/4 mist. So what does mist give you, or what does mist look like on this? At 1/8, it's very subtle. In fact, it's equivalent to having light moisture or fog in the air. So what mist filtration will provide you is halation or a glow in the highlight areas that will fall off into the darker or shadow areas. Here's an example of a Prime Video series called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and these are examples of halation or the glow that they've utilized in this series. In this first example, notice the glow on the candles and the light fall off on either lamp on either side or even in the background of this scene. Now, we should all understand that a lot more goes into lighting these professional sets, but in this case, this series is known for using some type of mist filtration, and in this case, this is a good example of it. Now let's take a look at this second image and take a look at the right side of the set. All the way in the back, you see an example of halation around that spotlight. Now there isn't as much halation around the rest of the lights just because the camera is facing directly to that canned light. But I think we again need to understand that probably some artificial fog or mist was brought into this scene to resemble the smoke that would be in any club back in the day. And then finally, in this third scene, as the gentleman is walking away, we notice on the far right the classic halo or glow look. And if you look at the top center, you can see that there was a light that was shining up in the sky. That might even be the moon, I'm not certain, but you can see that there is a glow that actually fades into the darker areas of the scene. So those are examples of halation or glow that Hollywood uses. I did mention earlier that these mist filters typically come in 1/4 or 1/8 mist. I really enjoy this 1/8 mist. It just takes a subtle edge off the digital look, and there's nothing wrong with the digital look. So if that's what you're after, don't use a mist filtration system. However, if you want to take the edge a little bit off the highlights and the spots where you do want glow, then in this case, I think that 1/8 would be the choice. 1/4 gives a little bit more intense glow. Now, if you're after that, I would go with the 1/4, but for me, again, the 1/8 fits the bill. And here are some examples that I mostly shot into direct sunlight as we were going into golden hour. So check it out. So those were examples of videos with this Freewell VND plus Mist filter on and off. But you might be asking yourself, does it work for photography? I know I was. So I went out and took a couple of shots and I placed the variable ND plus Mist filter on and off, and here's what I got. So what you're seeing here is a golden hour shot of a popular burger restaurant here in the area, and this is with the variable ND filter off. The next image is with the variable ND filter on, and you can see the halation really works in that light. So let's compare the two side by side. And as you can see that the filter does take a little bit of the digital edge off, but does not make it any less sharp. It just takes the edge off in the highlight areas, especially around those lights. Here's another image of the same location facing straight on. That's with the filter off. And this is with the filter on. Again, a lot of halation around the lights just makes those areas look a little softer. And I was pleasantly surprised. I really like what that look gave me. Now, I will be honest, I don't think I'll be using it all the time for photography, but if it fits the bill for you, maybe that's something in a unique situation you may want to pull out this filter and give it a go. All right, let's talk about some of the pros of this Freewell Variable ND filter. So first thing is, I love that it's part of the magnetic family. It comes with a magnetic cover so that you can pull on and off. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get off, but that's a good thing that it sticks on there, so it's not going to just fall off. The other thing is that you can stick other magnetic Freewell products on there that are part of the magnetic family. So this is a 10 stop ND. So let's say I have 2 stops here, 10 stops here. Yes, we're doing the math. That gives us 10 stops of ND, neutral density. That's pretty cool. If you are in blazing light and you need to knock down that light, you can put this kind of filter on there. So that is really cool. Next, I like the build quality of this variable ND filter. The glass is super nice and rivals the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon edition, which I used to have the 2 to 5 stop ND filter, but it got lost in that LA fiasco where I had my bag stolen. So I've owned that one, and now putting it up against this one, it compares nicely. It does a wonderful job. And having again a 2 to 5 stop ND, I'm very fortunate. So I'm glad to have this filter in that respect as well. The price of this lens is just over $100. The aforementioned Polar Pro Peter McKinnon edition is well over $200. I believe 250 some odd dollars. So you can buy a lot more of these filters and part of this filter system for the price. So there is great quality and value in this filter system. And finally, I love the haptic motion from one stop to another. So as you rotate this filter, it sits in seats in little notches. So as you move the filter back and forth from stop to stop, it will sit in there unless you actually, with intention, want to move it to another stop. So that's great. You're not going to accidentally bump this thing and move it to another stop when you meant to be in a different ND stop. So staying in 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to stay there, and that is a bonus. Now onto the cons, and there really isn't that many. This filter will give you a slight tint or a green color cast, and it's easily fixable in post. Go to your color wheels or wherever you can change the tint and move it slightly over into the magenta area, and you are fixed. I use a +5, +10, and you're all set. If you like the more green color cast, it naturally gives you that, and you can actually move the tint into the green side of things, and you can kind of see what that looks like, and it gives you a different mood. So whatever you want, it's there and easily fixable in post, and it's not really that difficult. It's not an issue at all. And if I'm being picky, let me remove this ring. The one thing that I don't necessarily like, I wish this was a thing, but I'm just being picky. Let's say at the time I'm using the 10 stop magnetic ND, which just slaps right on there. And then let's just say, oh, I want to throw a couple more stops on top of it. This system isn't going to just magnetically stick on it. In reverse, yes. If I had the variable ND on there first and then slap the 10 stop on there, yes, it'll work. However, I can screw it in so it seats in the top of the 10 stop ND and sits just fine. So that is an option. So it's not that I'm at a loss here, but I wish it would have sat in there as a magnet. Would have been nice, but I get it. I think it has to do with the variable ND and having that kind of haptic movement back and forth that maybe stops it from actually being magnetic. Instead, they want it seated in via the rings. So, and one last thing to note, and I don't think it's a con. In fact, I think it's a bonus here. I purchased the 10 stop ND filter by Freewell at the 82 millimeter size, so it fits on 82 millimeter rings. So I have to actually step up using step up rings, but that allows you to just buy one filter size and then step up or step down utilizing these rings. Right now it's sitting on a 52 millimeter internal inside ring of the 35 millimeter lens that I have on here. So that's nice. It fits on there, and it's the same actual ND filter, so that's kind of nice. So just know that buying some of these step up rings might be helpful, so you don't have to buy all the different sizes of this ND filter or any filter you buy by Freewell, Tiffin, Polar Pro, whoever you purchase from. But this is an awesome ND filter. I give it a thumbs up, and I would certainly recommend it to anybody looking for a mist plus variable ND. Go check it out. I have a link for this filter down in the description below if you want to take a further look. And I've also linked up the K&F Concept step up and step down rings that I purchased, but any will do. A tip on that too is don't ever screw them on super tight, because if you've ever done that, sometimes they can just be a bear to take off. So that's a pro tip. Put them on there nice and firm, but do not over tighten these rings. They can be a bear, like I said, to get off. All right, that's gonna do it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like this video if you liked any part of it or provided you value. I really appreciate you watching. Comment down below and let me know, do you have any variable ND filters or mist filters on their own? Tell me about yours and your experience on what you've been using, or if you're thinking about buying an ND plus mist filter, you think this is a good one? Let me know. And then finally, ring that bell to notify you of new videos when they are posted. All right, y'all, you know I love you. And until the next one, peace.